there's a lot to cover. There was just a lot to cover today. That weapon system story just broke a little while ago.
Yes. I Oh, and we're live. We're
We are live,
live.
dude. We are the yeah.
Yeah.
We are live. Hey, everyone.
I don't think anyone minds if the show goes a little long. But of
No, no.
course you're on a schedule.
I gotta make the. I gotta go and hit
Hmm.
my marks, so to speak. What's up, Sammy?
There he is. There's Sam.
G'day, gentlemen. Is my audio okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
Your
I'm
velvety.
on my phone.
You're on your phone. Well, your velvety voice sounds quite velvety, sir. So,
Mhm.
Thank you, sir. I'm
out
blushing.
of the three people that are on this show, the host has the most nasally and New Englandish, and the least attractive, I think, of the voices here. That's what I'll say.
I like it. I enjoy the way you pronounce the word idea as a
Oh yeah,
plural, ideas.
yes, yes,
I think
indeed.
it's great.
What's up, Jesse Bear? Yeah, I felt that if World War III was being caused by these missile systems, I thought I should at least give it like a couple of minutes. So I could say "I told you so" as the mushroom clouds, pop up.
Yes. That would be a great way to. I saw a video about how strange ways TV shows have ended. They've done their
Yeah.
final season. And one of them was dinosaurs, where there was an asteroid strike and snow. It ended up with snow falling anywhere and the camera pulling back,
Yeah,
implying that they're all going to die.
good times,
And
happy.
yes. So I was thinking if you had a soap opera of some kind and you were doing your final episode, I understand Neighbours, the Australian show, is going to end soon. You could just have people looking into the sky and seeing enormous splashes of light.
Oh yeah, yeah, good
Are
time. Yeah,
you serious? Neighbours is ending?
Yes, that's what I heard.
oh, is it really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's decades in length. It might be even. It's not as old as Doctor Who, but it's up there.
Yeah.
But you
And
can.
that's what Kylie Minogue started on.
A lot of guys. Chris Hemsworth was on that show.
I did not know that. I did not know that about Helmsworth or about Kyle.
It's an Aussie rite of passage, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it had, yeah, I'm looking at an article right now. It's 9,000 episodes since 1985.
Wow. Okay, 9,000 episodes.
It's a soapy, so it's 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's 35 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time, dude. So yeah, that story just came out. Well, it was out in March. So Australian television classic Neighbours canceled after failing to find a new broadcaster. Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Those of you who now I've never seen a full episode, but I've heard that they show tits on.
They do?
Do they?
I'm watching it.
No, not on Neighbours.
Okay.
Definitely not.
All right.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of there's an old British soap that
I never saw TNA on
Worldwide.
Coronation Street.
fucking a lot of it might have been Coronation Street.
What?
I think
Oh,
that's
come
what
on.
you're thinking of.
No way. Maybe EastEnders?
Oh, EastEnders.
No. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know. I did see TNA in Monty Python, an episode of Monty Python once, which shocked me as a kid.
I was watching The Meaning of Life with my kid. I think they were about 16 or maybe about 16. And of course, during one of the bits in The Meaning of Life, there's someone being chased, a guy being chased by a bunch of women with no shirts. And it's like, oh, I forgot that bit was in there. How about that? That's a little embarrassing.
Well, did the kid like it at least?
Well, yes. I mean, it's, if you've never really been exposed to Monty Python, it's, The Meaning of Life. That's a lot.
Yes.
And I think that bit with the topless woman came in after Every Sperm is Sacred.
Mm.
So it's a lot to handle if this is your first blush, if this is your first pass at Monty Python.
Also, internal joke where the guy being chased is Graham Chapman, who is gay,
Yes.
running in
Yeah.
terror of women, bare-breasted women, which I found funny too.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Mm. What is that noise?
It might be Sammy's phone.
Okay.
No,
It's
yes,
all right.
actually, sorry, that was me searching up TV soaps from the 80s where women showed their breasts.
Right.
Marmaduke
to see-
says something about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 96. Does that any bells
there
there?
was a train show that showed full frontal nudity in the 70s. Number 96 rings no bells to me.
So it says that it was 6 seasons, number 96, and it was in 1972. It first started. And I haven't seen any of it. And I cannot confirm that there were tits, full frontal nudity. But if Marmaduke
Neither
said
confirm or deny.
that cat,
No, I would
is
say we're
number
talking
40.
bush.
you know, yeah.
More than just breasts.
Well, this is what happens. You show full frontal nudity, and the next minute you have, universal health care, and the place goes down. I mean, you take away guns and all that stuff. Jesse Bear says, Life of Brian, amazing movie, got me moving into atheism, along with George Carlin. Comedy really is an amazing art for education. Yeah, Jesse Bear and everyone else. I think I mentioned it the other day about the 4-hour George Carlin. It's about 4 hours, probably just under 4-hour George Carlin documentary on Hulu right now, at least here in the States. And saw it over the weekend, the long weekend with a girlfriend, and definitely worth your time. I think towards the last years, George Carlin might have suffered the fate of something akin to Mark Twain, because Mark Twain and my favorite Mark Twain quote is, every day I wake up, I pray for the damnation of the human race, which I just think is funny myself. But Carlin seemed to, I think what happens when comedians and writers, people who do the shtick, they look into the sun, so to speak. They look into the pit, maybe. I don't know what kind of metaphor. I'm mixing them right now. But you can get burned out. You can get burned out after decades of looking at the worst aspects of human behavior. And I think that's what might have happened to Twain as well as Carlin.
See, and there's something I've noticed. I think I mentioned on a previous one of these streams of yours, Andy, about I found these condensed videos of the main scenes of movies and such, like kill scenes and whatnot.
Oh yeah, those are great.
What I've found is that old, not so much cliche, but that old adage, I guess, that Americans are so okay with violence.
Yes.
Like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
But are so scared of sex.
Terrified.
And that says so much about the American psyche.
Well, and I'm going to yes and you on that. And over the last weekend, in fact, there were at least 2 shows that the girlfriend and I were watching that just really explored full frontal male nudity, just actual full blown male nudity. One of them is a comedian named Sam J from Boston, and she has a show, Netflix, Hulu. It's called The Pause, and it's really funny. But she just showed a basketball game full of naked dudes basically playing basketball, and I thought it was the funniest. I thought that was hilarious too.
Oh my god!
I've seen a clip of that actually.
Yeah, so it's called The Pause, and it's a funny show. She's Black. It's from her particular, and she's part of the LGBTQ community, and it's at times raw. It's very David. it's kind of like David Chappelle, parts of it
Mm.
from when he was doing the show and before he went completely crazy. But yeah, it's pretty fun.
Have to check that out.
I'm
Yeah,
looking it up on Netflix right now.
Oh, the pause. Yes, definitely.
And Netflix is not cooperating, but we shall see.
Boo. Boo.
Yeah, I mean, Europe's done it forever. You
Mm.
know, America needs to catch up and get sexy, feel sexy about yourself.
Yeah,
You
they're
know, it's so uptight, and you're almost becoming British. You're becoming so uptight.
yes. Yeah. Well, a lot of this is no knowledge here that a lot of the early colonists here, at least here in my area or this area in Massachusetts, were just Puritans, which were the most uptight, aggressive.
Yeah,
They're like
you're
Oliver
you're right
Cromwell.
off to a good start.
What's that?
Yeah, you weren't off to a good start. I
Yeah,
suppose.
it was tough. I think we were, between the sinners in the hands of an angry God crew in charge of the country and slavery, between those two aspects of the very early stages of the forming of this country, it was a rough start, and you can see it. You can see how it's just still dealing with that legacy today.
Yes, yeah. I have to say, looking at it from that perspective, you've actually done all right for yourselves. But it is very pervasive, isn't it?
It is. It is. And you can see why evangelical white people are so much, it's the amount of change that has gone on in the culture here in the States over the last 30, 40, 50 years. It just terrifies, a lot of conservatives. And you can see how it bubbles up in the idiotic ramblings of Marjorie Taylor Greene about how no one's going to be straight and that Peachtree dishes and fake meat. Oh, thank you. Thank you. HBO Max. The Pause is an HBO Max show. Thank you.
The maybe I can watch it on one of the evil streaming websites that don't cater to copyright.
What? I don't know anything about this.
Me neither. I don't know how I even managed to mention it. I know nothing about that.
You're possessed, obviously. You're possessed.
Could be. Yeah, I was channeling.
Right.
So you were talking earlier about medium range missiles going to Ukraine.
Yeah, and it's this kind of it's this really difficult decision by the states, right?
Yes.
Whether or not are we going to, without the missiles, and without long range artillery, the Ukrainians don't have a chance, right? They don't have a chance. However, when you start giving them those kind of missile systems, then you're basically saying, I trust you not to do anything too crazy with them.
Yes.
And
I'm ever the optimist. Poor innocent Sammy. Can't we go in and say, look, the world is watching. You want to be part of NATO? This is your chance to actually step up and show what kind of member you can be. Here's a missile or two. Behave yourself. Don't make us regret this.
Yeah,
and have to come in and spank you.
I think this is a good point. This is a really good point because the Ukrainians seem to have been responsible with the stuff that they've gotten so far. And so that's a good sign. But it's war is chaotic, right? And commanders may not have, operational command over their people in the field.
Mhm.
at times, and mistakes happen too. So
Yeah, of course, here we are worrying about what the Ukrainians might do when we should be more focused on what Russia's doing.
It,
But
exactly.
it's a natural thing we have, being responsible people and all.
yeah.
Yes, you took the words out of my mouth, Big Z. We only just talked about it last night on this stream about I was saying about Russia shooting into NATO countries and how it would be, oh, it was a mistake, it was an accident. Everyone would overlook it. But here we are saying about, if we give Ukraine missiles, accidents can happen.
Yeah.
Well, why are we excusing it for Russia? But why wouldn't we, excuse it for Ukraine too?
I don't think the polls would excuse it.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah,
But Biden would try to.
well, yeah.
He wouldn't want to go there.
There have been once again, it's about not de-escalating and when, because there have been countries that have just like stumbled their way into, like World War I, for an example. The German Kaiser, he basically told the Austrians, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, that Germany had their back no matter what they did. No matter what they did. And so the Austro-Hungarians said, well, we're going to do whatever the F we want, whatever the fuck, see, yellow card for Andy, whatever we want to. And that's what caused an escalation of the conflict, is that, if there are not clear messages, or if there are wrong messages between allies, then you've been on the playground, right? Probably at some point when you were younger, and all of a sudden your friend gets into a conflict, and you're expected to kind of get dragged into it, and then other people get dragged into it. That's what I think that's what Biden's trying to avoid, and in a certain way, I think that's what Putin's trying to avoid too. Yeah.
Well, this artillery strategy where you just blast the living daylights out of whatever your target is pretty impressive, but it doesn't necessarily help you gain territory unless you plan to move in and occupy rubble, which you can.
They just the Russians just grabbed another major city, I believe, in eastern Ukraine, and so it's a slow moving strategy. But you saw what happened when they were trying to do a fast moving strategy, when they tried to grab Kyiv. It just didn't work out because they didn't have the people, they didn't have the logistics. You see, logistics are easier when you only move a kilometer a day.
Yes.
When you're only moving a mile or two a day, a couple of kilometers, then yeah, you don't have to worry as much about logistics because people are always bringing stuff up to the front line.
So explain to me, is basically the idea of Biden and others to just keep pumping supplies as long as they can until Russia starts to run low? Like, is this a trying to wear them down sort of deal?
The Russians can't win a war of attrition over the long term against NATO. They might be able to against Ukraine, but they know that they can't. They don't have the economy. They don't have the people. The Russians are still using a peacetime army too. They haven't done a general. They haven't called up. They haven't done a mass conscription or draft. So yeah, they can't win something long term against NATO. That's why they're trying to do what they're doing in Ukraine, to grab as much as they can before they have to stop.
And I'm guessing that Putin would realize this.
Oh, yeah.
So at this point, it's a matter of pride and whatever egotistical bullshit he's going on with.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if he can, if he can weaken Ukraine enough that what's left is just a very weak state. For an example, if he cuts Ukraine off from the sea, right, that's a long-term win for the Russians and a long-term loss for the Ukrainians. If he can do that and then make a peace treaty, he might be happy with that. He might just be forgetting, might just not even thinking about taking the whole thing anymore. He might just be thinking about, because once again, like I was saying at the very start, at the jump of this, he could be shooting for, he has a couple of goals. His stretch goal would be, taking over the whole country. And one of the second, lesser goals would be just, carving off large pieces of it.
What if, and he's already managed to deplete the country, Ukraine, of about 14 million people just left?
Yeah.
What if there's nothing for them to come back to?
Well,
you've really damaged the country then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that there's some way to approach these artillery positions. The thing is that a lot of these drone systems are very short range.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they are. And the this is, yes. And the weapons that we have been giving, or the West has been giving, the Ukrainians have been good for the kind of wars, the kind of battles have been fought around Kyiv. Short range, those Javelin shoulder-mounted missile systems in the end, they only have a certain range to them. I mean, they're good in urban, close contact kind of environments. But when you're talking about like an open plain where you have long range artillery smacking you down, you can't do anything with those weapons.
No, there are longer range drone systems, of course.
Yeah.
But they also tend to be a little more vulnerable to attack. Sure. They fly in, they get shot down, maybe. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to have to close down the show, or I'm going to start closing down the show because
close it down.
Going to work and doing the work.
Man, that was fast.
What's that?
I said, man, that was fast.
Dude, I was up at 4:45. I was up at 4:45 this morning, typing and doing stuff, and then it's like, oh wow, it's like 7:30. Maybe I should pull, get some pants on. I should get some pants on for this.
I think pants are good.
Yeah,
I often say things about them, and that we shouldn't have pants and trousers, but sometimes they have their place.
They have their place. All right. On that note, everyone, Shamala Hamala.
Shamala.
Doing the same crazy thing tomorrow. Take care.